welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurs in Fuego. We're documenting the journey of amazing entrepreneurs such as Llewellyn. Celebrate volunteers.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing terrific. How's your cold?
No cold,
No
actually
cold, just
allergies.
Just allergies?
Yeah,
Same
allergy
here,
season
man.
is
I'm just
getting me this year.
I got my very white voice now, you know what I mean?
Very nice.
Celebrate volunteers. You got a great thing that you do. Tell us a little more about it.
Well, it's a brand new company, actually, and it comes out of many years of working with volunteers and wanting to make sure that the story of people who volunteer and are doing great things in our community is something that gets shared, and that people know all the great things that are happening, and that it's about the person and their service.
Who volunteers?
So many different people volunteer. Actually, in Arizona, there's 1.19 million volunteers.
What?
Yes.
Where are they? We need them right here. Where are they? Right here. Actually, we have two phenomenal gals from Job Corps. Actually,
there you go.
They're interns.
Yes.
And I wouldn't call them volunteers per se, but they're interns. Anyway,
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm getting to your
No,
story. So 1.9 million.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
And they're serving in nonprofits, in schools, in religious organizations, in civic groups. Companies have employee engagement groups that go and do volunteer work in their communities. There are volunteers serving everywhere.
What compels somebody to volunteer?
You know, there's a lot of different reasons. What they're finding with employees in their companies is that they want to know that their companies are doing great things in the community as well, and they want to be part of that.
Yeah.
For individuals, depending on their age and where they're at in their life, they have different motivations. Younger volunteers tend to be interested in exploring careers and meeting new friends, experiencing new things. And then people who are in the middle of their life, it's often about family and serving in their church or in their school so that they're supporting their children's activities and family activities. And with older adults, it's often a way of giving back, of utilizing the professional skills that they have gained throughout their lifetime to be able to do something that helps others, or to just totally do something new and something fun.
You know what, Linda? Unfortunately, in our society, and we've become so jaded that when we hear the word volunteer, we kind of tend to think that there has to be some kind of quid pro quo. I'm volunteering because I want something out of this.
Sure.
But volunteering is such a personal experience, isn't it?
Absolutely. And volunteers often do come in with hoping to gain something from the experience, whether it be meeting new people, doing something different, helping the organization. There's definitely a motivation to it.
Sure.
But what really happens in volunteering are so many unexpected wonderful rewards that they could never have planned on. They may meet a new best friend. They may learn a skill and network with a person who helps them get their next job. You know, there's so many other things that happen that they couldn't have possibly planned on.
I think it's probably the best networking
gig
that you can find, because when you
Absolutely.
volunteer, you meet some of the most amazing people. And the fact that you are a volunteer, it kind of puts you in a different echelon.
Well, I think they're freer to talk to each other and to find out about people in their personal life as well as why are they here volunteering. Rather than when you're an employee, you're really focused on your work and what the objective of your work is, and you know your coworkers, but you may not share quite as many personal things.
How did you get started on this thing? I mean, do you wake up one day, you go, okay, I'm going to start this Celebrate Volunteers thing? How does that come?
Well, the Celebrate
about?
Volunteer part has come after more than 20 years of working with volunteers, and my own frustration in volunteer recognition during those years, because it's really important to continuously recognize your volunteers.
Right.
They're working for you for free.
Right.
And so making sure that they know that they're appreciated, that they're valued, that what they're doing makes a difference is critical to their satisfaction and feeling rewarded in the experience.
How do you recognize them? How do you make them feel appreciated? If not rewarding them economically, what other type of psychological remuneration, social remuneration, what do you do?
And that's part of where my frustration came, is because volunteer recognition has been around for a long time, and people do a lot of different things, and it should start from the very moment that that person contacts your organization, that you welcome them, you treat them with respect, you're prepared for them, and that along the way you remember to say thank you and include them as part of your team. Not that they're just a volunteer, but that they're part of your team. And those things have to happen to begin with. But then you want to do something special, and whether it be during National Volunteer Week, where you might have an extra food festivity and treats in the office, or provide them with a small gift or something of that nature. Or many organizations do larger annual recognitions where they acknowledge volunteers for their hours of service or their years of service. And all of those things are great recognitions. But what they tend to miss is that they never quite come back to, why is this individual special? What's unique about them in their volunteer service? Because you can have two volunteers that both serve 100 hours for your organization in the exact same role, doing the exact same work, having the exact same wonderful outcome, and all of that is so important. But they're going to do it totally differently, and they're both going to add something unique to their experience that's about who they are as a person. And that's the part that usually gets missed in recognition. And so doing something that's a personalized recognition is a way of really honoring the person and honoring their service at the same time. So Celebrate Volunteers provides that opportunity for the very first time in a virtual way. That celebratevolunteers.com is a website that has a showcase where we feature volunteers, and the person who's working with them and engaging them in the organization writes a profile, submits their picture, tells the story of that person and what they're doing for the organization, and then it's up on our website. And many people can come and see that, and it goes back to the organization with a link so that they can continue to share it and promote their volunteer and recognize them. It can be part of the program at the annual recognition.
I have a new show coming up called Volunteers and Fuego.
There you go. With 1.19 million,
With 1.9 million,
we can have a
that
great
is
long show.
That is because they have to have some amazing stories to tell themselves as volunteers.
Yes, definitely.
You know, because you're in an entirely different world, if you will. The world of volunteerism is. Volunteers get fired?
Yes, they do.
They do?
They do. It's definitely a myth to think that, well, I volunteer, I can't be fired. It's not something that you do very often. It's not something that you take very lightly.
Right.
But just because somebody is wanting to assist your organization and provide their services for free doesn't mean that it fits with the organization. And every organization is going to have their specific needs as well as their specific rules and guidelines of how you do that. And some things don't work whether you're an employee or a volunteer.
The fact that you're a volunteer does not exempt you from the rules and regulations of the organization that you're volunteer or working for.
Right. It's that same part of that they're part of the team. You know, you need to treat them as part of your team, and you expect the same things as the rest of your team.
That's got to be horrific. You know, you volunteer for something. I'm sorry, Ms. Jennings, you're fired. You can't volunteer. That's got to be just the worst.
There are nicer ways to say that.
I don't know. I probably would say it like that. You're fired.
There
not
you
to
go.
not to invoke a political figure who is running for president right now, Mr. Trump. But anyway, so in your model, I have to ask you, how do you monetize your model?
That's a great question, and I get asked that quite a bit, actually.
I'm just curious.
Absolutely. Well,
Inquiry minds want to know, as they used to say. Remember that?
I do.
Exactly.
Yes, I do.
Do we have to go that far back?
I know. Please don't. So in that, you know, I really have worked for nonprofits for most of my career, and I know that their budgets are limited.
Sure.
So I wanted to make sure that it would fit with their culture as well. And so it's a membership organization. They're part of the Celebration community, which
Right.
provides them with other resources as well. And the level of membership depends on how many volunteers they recognize, whether it be one volunteer with a 14-day trial membership,
Sure.
or an unlimited number of volunteers for an entire year.
So small organizations as well as big organizations.
Absolutely.
And they don't have to be nonprofits. I mean, they could be
No,
any kind
correct.
of organization that can join in.
Anybody who works with volunteers.
CelebrateVolunteers.com.
Correct. Yes.
Not .org.
No, .com.
Sorry, I'm just trying to you should get the org as well. I mean, why not?
It could be, but
sounds
no,
pretty good.
celebratevolunteers.com.
What is, so you've had this then for how long, Celebrate
I
Volunteers?
actually launched 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. What
Yes.
kind of response have you gotten so far?
Well, it's a slow response, actually. I worked with a number of organizations in the beginning and providing them with a complimentary opportunity because
Sure.
they were special to me or special to family and friends.
Right.
And so I really looked at them as part of my charter membership so that I could showcase their volunteers and create a website.
And I was just going to say, can I go to your website and find
Yes.
people that are looking to volunteer, perhaps? Are you providing kind of a link between the company that is looking for volunteers and volunteers who want to volunteer?
A little bit. For those
Okay.
membership organizations at different member levels, they are also able to post volunteer opportunities. So that as
Ah.
people read about their volunteers and
Sure.
go, oh, that sounds great, I'd love to do that, they can also find out how to volunteer. And it really becomes a website that has a list of organizations that you know truly value and appreciate their volunteers.
I am going to say something that's going to sound incredibly terrible,
Okay.
but I'm going to wait for that company in Hawaii who needs a volunteer to go in there and spend 6 months in Hawaii, volunteer. I don't care what I do there, but I'm going to go there and volunteer for 6 months and
There
then
you
come
go.
back to the mainland.
That's a great motivation.
Or the Bahamas, or the Caribbean,
Yes.
anywhere there is sunshine and palm and coconuts.
I'm sure you can find that opportunity. There's always a need.
I will volunteer. I'll do anything. Man, thanks a lot, Lynn. I appreciate it. We're going to track your journey because, it
Great.
is a new start, but the word will get out. And I can tell
Absolutely.
you we'll do anything from our end to be able to get the voice out for Celebrate.
Well, I know that
Volunteers.
nonprofits and all organizations want to do things to recognize their volunteers, and this is a whole new way to do it. It's 21st century volunteer recognition.
Very ingenious, very ingenious. You got it going on.
Thank you.
You're fun. Thank you so much. And with that, we're out.